So we're in round 2 of the Gaethje fight. Khabib's playing with Gaethje at this point. He's done his research and he knows what he wants. He's in the second round. He wants to finish this quick. So let's have a look at what's going to go on. So play. Leg kick. Yeah, doesn't really hurt at distance. Here we go. Right, so obviously what Khabib has done with his teams, he's sat down and he's looked at the tape and he's seen that Gaethje uses this leg kick. And he's decided to follow that leg kick in it. And this time it was at the perfect range. So we're now kind of looking at some kind of single leg to knee tap to double leg to something. It's not really a powerful shot of any kind. He's not really driving in there. He's just following in to get to the hips to make an attachment. He's obviously watched the tape. This is the time to do it. So he's going to move his way in to make an attachment. So this is all he really wants. So at this moment what he's doing is he's blocking Gaethje's left knee and he's cupped behind the back of Gaethje's right knee. Now Gaethje is a very good wrestler, so what he's going to do is he's going to turn and sprawl and he's going to try and stop the completion of this, what feels like a double leg. It's not really a double leg. I don't really know what it is, okay? In catch wrestling and stuff like that, we'd be on an outside single or something. You know, it's very confusing for me. I don't know. So we'll see what happens anyway. So he shoots, Gaethje turns, which he should do, and he drives the hip in, and it's a disaster for Khabib. Oh my God, he's down on the ground, his weight's over his heels, his toes aren't under him, he has no power, there is nothing there for him. So what does Gaethje want to do at this point? He wants to drive his hips in, make sure that he forces Khabib's head to the ground. Now this would work really effectively if Khabib's head was on this side of the body. But what Khabib's going to do is he's going to use the forward momentum of Gaethje now to actually take his weight onto his heels and bring his head out and his ear onto Gaethje's right hip. So we'll just move it a little bit forward. Boom. And what's happened is basically Gaethje has given the ability of Khabib to be able to sit up and take his weight over his feet. Now, did Khabib drag him in? I'm not sure. Did Gaethje push into him? I'm not sure. When you look at how the feet are driving, maybe not. Maybe Khabib dragged him in. It doesn't really matter. But this head being on the opposite side acts like a post. And now, he could finish this as a double leg if he wanted. He could knee tap with his right hand, turn him over. He could turn the corner, bring his hips, drive him over in a classic double leg. But he's not going to do that. He's going to actually use his head as a post and use that to turn out. Now, the more that Gaethje drives that hip in, the easier it's going to be for our man Khabib to just slot his way out the back. So at the moment, Gaethje is defending the double leg or the knee tap. So he's driving his hips in for this, which is exactly what Khabib wants, because he's basically going to unload Gaethje's hips off his shoulder as he turns the corner very slightly. I need to do this very slowly. So there we go. Now he's gone for a body grab. Okay, and at this point, sometimes he would come out and just control the hips of Gaethje. Against the fence especially, he would be holding the hips and he would be driving Gaethje over his hands, trying to get him to the ground. But because he's got space, he's not on the cage where he usually is, he's actually going to use this to take one of the most wonderful back takes that I've seen. So see how he pushes his head out? This is fantastic. Now, Gaethje is in a terrible place now. From being in a brilliant place, he's in a terrible place. He is completely turtled. That turtle is completely open. He has no drive from his hands. His arms are straight and he has no drive from his legs. He has no balls of the feet on the ground or anything like that. Khabib has gone to his favourite place, which is this hip dominant control. And if we look at the grip that he's got his palm on the back of his wrist, really, really nice and tight. The right elbow is tucked into Gaethje's right hip, which is crimping that hip. It's already going to make it difficult for him to straighten his body and drive upwards. So there's no way that he's going to be able to get that leg underneath him. And if he does, because of the placement of Khabib's hands on Gaethje's left hip, you can see that they go over the top of each other. He's actually crimping that hip, and he's pulling this grip into him, which is forcing the hip to bend. This means it's really difficult for Gagey to get a foot underneath him, because he can't get his back straight above his hips. He can't drive out of this. He's just being held there. Absolutely beautiful technique. You can watch this, you can see it, you can try and learn it. Hours of practice, I'm afraid. Hours of practice. You know, normally at this point, what would you do? Knee tap drive, spiral ride, stuff like that? No, he's not going to do any of that. He's just going to hang on to those hips for dear life. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So now we see it coming to the nitty gritty of the actual move and the back take. He's just going to step around this. Now let's see that foot going, okay? So this is now getting into like classic jiu-jitsu. He's got his hand in place, he's got his hands in the spiral ride point here. He's actually just going to walk around and replace these hands with this hook. All right? Really simple, really easy. He's collapsed Gagey's ability to be able to get out of this. He's collapsed Gagey's ability to stand up. So all he's going to do is he's just going to literally walk his hips around, keeping his weight so that he's crimping the spine of our Gagey. Gagey's desperately trying to get to his feet. He really can't do this. And the foot goes in. Boom. Okay. As soon as that foot goes in, now what Khabib's going to do is he's going to take his head over the top of Gagey's head. Notice his hips are directly over Gagey's hips. This is beautiful jiu-jitsu, or beautiful sambo, or anything Khabib tells me, it is beautiful. All right, you can even see with the arch of his spine, yeah, he's following directly. The ear's over the ear and the hip is over the hip. I mean, this might just be luck, it might be uncertainty, but this is perfect technique. He slots, I missed a bit. He slots his hip in, and he's already starting to stretch Gagey out. The other hook is coming in. We can see the toes here, and he's already starting to stretch him out. The hands are going underneath the armpits, and the ear is now coming alongside the head. Okay, so as it comes down and comes alongside the head, this is all beautiful, beautiful jiu-jitsu. Okay, well, sambo or whatever he says. I'm scared of him, so whatever he says. We see him take him to the ground. Gagey's instant reaction to this is to try to get his back to the floor. He wants to push Khabib away. He wants to get his back to the mat and slowly build his base. Maybe it's not going to happen with our man Khabib, and we see him complete the mount. Absolutely gorgeous. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I hope that is a little good breakdown of it. If you can do it, good luck.